Hey everybody, it's Sarah again. I'm going to be going through just a few things today. I think I had mentioned in one of my Instagram posts that I was going to actually talk about tomatoes, but of course I have to give an update on some of my other plants as well. So let's just go ahead and take a look. Oh, by the way, I'm fashioning this nice little hat, which was provided to me by my boyfriend's sister because I burn easily, and even though I put sunscreen on, which sunscreen's important so you keep your skin healthy, I like to protect my face a little more. So let's go ahead and check out some of the updates that I have in my garden. Again, I have so many weeds. I just need to take care of them. And everything is growing so well. I have to leap over my zucchini and my strawberry crown squash just to get in the garden. But I was very excited because I found an almost ripe cucamelon, or other words, Mexican sour gherkin. So let me see if I can try to find it. Here it is. Look how little. It's almost ripened all the way. I'm super excited. Oh, there's a couple more right here. I'm super excited for these. Very excited. I can't wait. And I should be getting some more cucumbers here soon. And then, of course, my little forest of tomato plants. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the green tomatoes that I have, or the unripe tomatoes that I have right now. These are yellow pear. So these will be interesting to see. This is Dr. Wytche's yellow tomato. And then over here is my black cherry. Now this one is one of the ones that I did not start from seed. This is actually store-bought, and I can't remember where I bought it from, but it was probably Lowe's. Whoops. Well, that's unfortunate. You know what? I've never actually eaten a green tomato before, like an unripe tomato. So let's see. It's not terrible. I guess I was expecting it to be very astringent or bitter. Not at all. It's not super sweet like a ripe tomato would be, but it's not terrible either. I think that I might try some fried green tomatoes. Sorry, there was a bug. All right, let's finish looking at some of these then. There's some more yellow pear. And then actually in here, there's some more Dr. Wytche's. Quite a few on this plant actually. Very, very fruitful. Just, I have no idea where I'm going to stand. And these things are getting so tall and so heavy. These are, I think, 6-foot stakes, but they're, or 5-foot stakes, but they're in the ground a little bit. And some of these plants, I didn't get some of the suckers off, so they are really heavy. Like this one, for instance, you can see 1, 2, 3 main stems here that are producing fruit. 1, 2, and then there's a third one back here. So there's just so much weight on this plant. And this, of course, is a yellow pear tomato. These things, I was looking up some of the information on them, and whenever I grew them, I think I planted like 28 seeds, and like 26 of them came up. So they're going to be very, very fruitful, very prolific. It'll be nice to see. And here were some These two are extra yellow pear tomato plants. And then these are my experimental plants that I had, but we'll get to those later. I've got to navigate through. It is literally a jungle. I have no idea how I'm going to pick this fruit whenever it all ripens. I really don't. Let's see if I can get some close-ups of some unripe San Marzano and Lucky Tiger before I go into more in-depth conversation about tomatoes. So this is actually the San Marzano. So this is your paste tomato. And there are so many on this little plant. This one's smaller than some of the other ones, but it's gonna be so great. You guys, I am so excited about this. Here's another San Marzano one, another smaller plant. And I think all of these ones that are towards the front, my ground is slightly sloping, but I also have more compost on that end than on this end. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well, because those have a lot of compost, and then any water that runs that way. So they're getting a lot of nutrients down there. Let me see if I can find a Lucky Tiger tomato plant. There's some black cherries. Again, Dr. Wytche. Yellow pear again. The thing with my Lucky Tiger tomato plants, which I think this might be one. Yep, here's a Lucky Tiger tomato. Oh, look at that wee little baby. Look at it, it's so little. Are there any more? There's a couple more. I guess we'll see how well. I don't know if this is focusing well. There we go. We'll see how well these do. I didn't get very many plants whenever I started them from seed. The San Marzano and the Lucky Tiger, I don't think I got very many of, but it also didn't help that when I was going through and pruning, not once, not twice, but 3 times, well, I should say 2.5, I killed my Lucky Tiger tomato plant because I snipped the top off. And there were no suckers that were growing on the sides to like allow the plant to continue to grow. So I had to pull 2 of them up out and replace them with yellow pear tomatoes. I had a couple extra yellow pear tomato plants that I was trying to figure out what to do with. The third one that I chopped the top off, I missed the sucker. So the sucker, which I'll show you here in a second what those are, it was able to, and I think this might actually be the plant that it happened on. It actually formed into the rest of the plant going up. So let me show you what a sucker is. Sorry about that. Let me show you what a sucker is real quick. Okay, so let's say that this is the main tomato stem right here, okay? And then this right here, that's the leaf stem. This little thing right here, that is what we call a sucker. And this has the potential to turn into a main tomato stem. So what you can do is typically, what I like to do, especially whenever I'm first growing the tomato plants, is I generally try to prune these. That way it can focus more energy on the plant growing taller versus growing out. There's nothing wrong with keeping these on. I just feel like more of the energy is focused to the plant growing. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. I feel like more of the energy is put where it's needed to be versus the plant growing in a million different directions, trying to concentrate the growth. So you can snip these off. You can leave them grow. It's not a big deal. But if you leave them grow, they'll continue to get bigger. So here's one that's really big. And let me see if I can find a bigger one, because a lot of these plants that I have quite a few, but okay, here's one. Here's one that's really big. So this is the main stem right here. this is the leaf stem right here, and then this is the sucker right here. And these will actually get blooms on them. So it'll grow, it's going to grow just like it is a main stem. And it can have suckers grow on it, and then it'll keep growing out like that. So let me see here. I'm going to try to see if I can find one. I'm going to smell so much like tomato plants because these things are so close together. And like, if you've ever like rubbed your fingers on like the stem of a tomato plant and then smelled it, like I'm going to smell like that because my arms, like I can feel it on my body. Oh, I found a great one. Okay, so this is the main stem. Here is the leaf stem, and then here is the sucker. Okay, and then if you look here, this sucker is actually a main stem now because it's another main stem. It has some blooms coming, but then here is another sucker plant, or another sucker right here. So if this would continue to grow, it would form another stem shoot which could bear fruit. So that's really what it is. And I'll be honest, like I don't know how much better to explain that. I mean, I can try to do a little research or point you in the direction of people that I watch on YouTube that maybe have a better explanation for it. But really, the sucker of the plant can then become another main stem which can bear fruit, and that sucker which becomes another main stem can have another sucker grow on it which can become a main stem and have fruit. So I don't know if you can like follow that process. Anyway, one of the things that I did this year was I had heard, and I forget where I heard it from, I had heard that you could snip a sucker off, and probably one that's pretty far along in growth, not one of these little tiny, nothing like this size. Whoop, let me get this to focus. Nothing this size, but something more like this size right here, where like just looking at my hand, where it actually looks like a small tomato plant. If you snip it off, you should be able to put it in the ground and sort of propagate, since that sucker plant or that sucker shoot is actually a viable main stem. Decided to go ahead and use that method and plant some suckers to see what would happen. And I was actually very, very thrilled with the results. So I'm trying to squeeze in between all these plants so that I can squat down a little bit so you can see these suckers that I planted. So this is one that I planted, and it's actually doing really well. Whenever I first planted these, they looked terrible, and I was so not sure about what would happen to them. I didn't think they were going to live very, very long, to be quite honest. This is the second one that I did, and it actually has some buds on it. Not sure if they'll actually bloom, but it has some buds on it. So that's the second one. This is the third one. It's actually pretty tall. It has some buds on it as well. They haven't bloomed yet, but those have some buds on them. Then, oh, sorry, that's from a plant. There's the fourth one, the fifth one. Oh gosh. And then here is the sixth one that I put in. You can see right here, blooms. There might be another one. There might be another one somewhere in there, but to be honest, it's going to be very difficult to try to find it because all these plants are leaning, and they're going crazy. Look at this. Is from this plant right here. This plant. It has so many offshoots down at the bottom. I don't know what to do. And I'm one of those people that don't like to cut anything because I want the plant to kind of just like grow. But it's like getting unruly. It's going to be so difficult whenever I go to harvest from these. I think next year, just to give some thoughts on what I want to do, Well, next year, I want to plant more than 5 different varieties. I don't know if I want to actually plant 36 tomatoes, so I do have 36 tomato plants in here, aside from the experimental ones that I planted from the suckers on the other tomato plants that were planted. Anyway, I don't know if I'll grow 36 tomato plants again. It's very dense. I guess it's all just going to depend upon how well they do if I do it again. But if I do it again, I think I might actually use cattle panel. Instead of these like green stakes, they're great. The green stakes are great. I love the green stakes. But whenever the plant, like this is straight up and down, whenever the plant gets too heavy for it, it like starts to tilt and fall over and lean. And I mean, this is a 5-foot stake. I'm over 5 foot. I'm like 5'9", and it's probably about 6 to 8 inches in the ground, if not more. And I can't push it down any further. So, I'm thinking we're going to take cattle panel, and instead of having it like, you know how this is the trellis, I think we're going to line it horizontally across. And I'm thinking putting, you know, the T-posts in, and then just lining the tomato plants against the cattle panel. I really think that's going to help with, one, keeping everything even, because I have no idea if these tomato plant rows are even or not. I don't think they really are. So it'll keep them even, and I'll be able to space things out better. I won't have to worry about the tomato plants falling. I think it'll just be easier in general. For next year, depending upon how things go, I might grow the same amount of tomato plants in the garden. I definitely want to use cattle panel, which will be easy to take up and store away for whenever we need to add compost. And then I do want to do some more varieties. So I'm really looking forward to that next year. They're not actually considered vegetables. They're botanically considered a fruit. Actually, anything that grows from a flower is considered the fruit. So like peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, any type of squash, all of those are fruits. Beans are fruits. Things that are like vegetables would be like lettuce, cabbage, because you're not eating what forms from the flower for those. With how many tomato plants I have, I think I'm going to try to do salsa this year. I do want to try to do canned tomatoes. And then I do want to try to do sun-dried tomatoes. So hopefully you guys can follow my journey as I attempt to do these things for the first time. Like I said in my either in the description of my first video, or I may have said it in my first video, I live in hardiness zone 6A. This is my 4th year of gardening on my own. So my first year it was at my parents' house, and then I got my own place, and so this is my 3rd year on my own property growing. And I'm still learning. I have a great mentor that I use as a reference, and then I watch a lot of YouTube videos and do a lot of research on things. So just give you a last look at my little tomato forest. If you have any names or suggestions, I am all up for ideas on what to call my tomato forest. I kind of feel like tomato forest is kind of like bland in the names in the name area, but please, I'm up for ideas. Gotta make gardening fun. So I really enjoy it. So if you enjoyed my video and you want to continue to follow me on my journey, be sure to hit like and subscribe. And then if you have any questions, or if you have any ideas on what you want to see content-wise, please leave that in the comment section below. And I hope you guys have a happy 4th of July, of course, and happy gardening. Sorry, there was a honeybee flying around me, and it kind of actually scared me a little bit. puppy. It's so cute. Whoa, what are you eating? What are you eating? What are you doing? Stop that. Hey, what you doing? What you doing? Huh? You playing in the garden? What you doing, babe? Freya. Hey, baby. Hey. Aw, why don't you stay in the shade? Stay in the shade. It's hot out. It's hot out. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll do 36. I think it's just going to, I think I'm, sorry, my boyfriend just messaged me. He made me laugh. He said, quit taking videos and get back to work. I'm done with work, thank you. I don't know where you are, but I'm done with work. Look at the little baby crown of thorns gourd. It's so cute. It's very exciting. I can't get this thing to focus. Focus, dang it. Come on. I think that's focused. There we go. Little crown of thorns gourd. So cute. So precious. So exciting.